Outside, most all brown, of different tones, lined with green roads, red where I speak from, white at the palms. Inside, mostly blue, blue not as the sky, more like the ocean, an absent blue, blue only in reflection. All right, I am Hector, son of Hector. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me here today. I am really excited. Like Ben was saying, I don't know, semi-regular, I guess is the best way to describe it. Some old man invited me because I used to go to in Long Beach. There used to be this open mic, and some old man was like, "Hey, go check out this place in Orange." And I was like, "That's far, man." But I went ahead and I really liked it. And then I moved out here, and it kind of disappeared. But you know, here we are. And I remember going and wondering, like, who are these people that get to feature? And so this is kind of like a full circle moment for me right now. So this is exciting. Anyhow, just like the first poem, I feel like I'm going to read a couple that are very self-portrait, like Garden Days. I seek an elixir through alchemy, the wild man's energy source, to regain the youthful courage lost to the urbane adult, jokes and zeal all taken from me. So I spend days in the garden growing, watering daisies and dirt with my hands, writing tags to describe the names of plants, their source and favorite climate for glowing. Though I see and smell their colors and fruits, I am drawn to their uses and effects, blood thinners, analgesics, diuretics, and toxicant flavors found in the roots. Yet each time I dig, I get stuck in mud, then drown in nostalgic thoughts like a flood. La maleza. Something fell from me, like a tree losing branches during storms. Cracked, jagged edges remain open. Fire would touch my feet. I move my head into the oldest roots, constantly absorbed, cradled in shade. I cry over fall shed, struggle just to climb, philosophize lost parts, doubt each new dream, survive in soil beneath leaves of grass, out of reach like stars above. Either I decompose or extend myself in search of water and nutrition. So I tried to grow toward the sun, to break the line, only to learn that I am a weed in a field of marigolds and magnolias. Charcoal. They drive hours to find this place, to take this branch and light it. Its crackle is quiet in the fire pit, the log changing at a rapid pace. They shine their hands on the heat, absorbing the warmth of transformations. External forces remove its essence. Charcoal metamorphoses at their feet. They remain stagnant through it all, burn this wood along with others, all for the warmth of their fingers while covered in jackets and wool. They drove hours with eager matches, turned this log into forgotten ashes. 14 lines of identity. Columbus. Standing aboard and staring abroadly, furrowed eyebrows live on the horizon, seeking the ver rutas para las Indias. Body odor of 10 weeks at sea, my present is Europe's history, Black Plague and Italian Renaissance, white supremacy and spread of smallpox, colonialism and tyranny, exploitation of people and nature, destroyer of indígena culture, discoverer of nada nuevo, ignorer of el continente mayor, believer that new world gold will grant me access to a European elite. Moctezuma. I pace the island city with my heart hidden in a blotted brown paper bag, amidst toxic dreams and misread myths, predictions written on the palms of stones. Either the gods have come to reign command, or they have led us to the mouths of beasts. They arrive with the power of thunder, precious metal detectors made of blades. We will disappear in their anxious sweat. They will retell our lives as they see fit. Our seedlings will have to dig up our blood, carry our stories in fingernail tips, remove and lay them behind sheets of glass, read them out loud in their bastard tongue. Cortés. I ignore the words the king sends over, and ally centaurs with vengeful Indians, pockets full of men in iron clothing. Persistence means round two of mass murder. Pay off their gods to go with their own gold. Give them in exchange the cross to idol. Twist white to godly, brown to mongrel. Then burn their city and hide their stone. Price them out of their own maze. Build a new capital on their grave. Make sure their spirits can never regain. Fill in their shattered skulls with hateful grain. Their empty guts with Christian myth and sound. And leave my hardened footprints on the ground. Cuauhtémoc. Último Tlatoani guerrero, derrotado con los pies quemados. El futuro nuestro fue robado. So skin me like you would el conejo, wear me like an ocelotl fighter, be clear like the water of Texcoco before the litter of bodies and blood. Paint me on the mural in your image, as brown and dark as you throughout the year. Engrave my memorized flowers and songs, insert the fragrant essence of the dead. Do not waste your time on these buried bones. I refuse to expose our hidden gold, the heavy weights we carry in our hearts. This next piece is dedicated to the 43 missing students who were abducted and disappeared by the cartel in 2014. Just to give you some context, there's some imagery in this poem of Cuauhtemoc being captured in the Tlatelolco marketplace by the conquistadores. There's also imagery here of the 1968 massacre of the student protesters in the Plaza Tlatelolco at the hands of federal police. And then there is also imagery of the students who were attacked in Guerrero on their way to Tlatelolco, just to give you some context so you don't get lost, or so you can try to find yourself if you can. On the way to Tlatelolco, para los 43 de Ayotzinapa. 43 children did not run into the Guerrero woods and turn to smoke to Nahuatl mystics. It was a ghostly Cortés who commanded conquistadores and indígena allies to starve and to murder enough bodies to stack his temples, to leave a reek of death that has never left the surface of the land. It was the Brigadas and Policía Federal that fired onto the plaza, where Cuauhtemoc suffered the loss of the Mexica soul to future compatriots who then piled students and neighbors on flatbeds, dressed to look like garbage trucks. It was the Jaguares that stood by as the dogs defaced the Quetzales, leaving their flightless bloody feathers full of ash in a bag by the river. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I have a different series. I call them my work poems, where I talk about work, and I work in a hospital. And I just preface it with that. I think one of these I read here, the other ones I haven't read here, but anyway. And someone asked me if I could read one, so I was like, all right, well, I'll read a couple. So, if you have ever seen the handle of a switchblade protrude from a woman's eye, then you are aware that somewhere in this city there's a knife wreaking havoc, slicing beautiful brown faces, puncturing chests into whistling lungs, cutting concrete down divided neighborhoods, nipping buds and wilting petals with calculated and gentle strokes, like a florist cleans carnations, the way a mother grooms her child's hair. If you have seen the edges of a butter knife dripping the blood of a lover, then you are aware that this blade swings around downtown looking for a place to sleep. This blade gives one man something to eat. He chops a beef and chorizo on 24th Street. This blade stole a Louis Vuitton bag from a girl visiting her father, took her left cheek in her piece, then her confidence in her smile, the scent of schizophrenia still lingers on her neck. If you pay attention to the reflection of this blade, bitterly stuck between ribs, you will note that this blade breaks barriers heavier than a hammer. This blade provides a means to pay her rent. She makes incisions in bellies to take out leaded bullets that once lived in imaginary guns on the fingers of our kids. This blade that once saved a life is the same blade that once took a life. If you pay close attention to the rust around this metal, dust of generations prior, you will note that it is cut from the same iron of the bridges that carried you here. One thing I like to do with some of these pieces is inject little magic or mythology into my pieces. And so sometimes the gods live among us. At 2 a.m., he circles the campus, pedaling his bike like a drunken horse, slowing down to grab unfinished cigarillos, shirtless and muscular brown back covered in deep blue tattoos, flowing long black hair. At 3, he is inside, screaming in fear of snakes crawling on their reptile bellies. He swears they're slithering under my chair. I help tie him down at 4 directions. Metal Zyprexa pierced into his thigh. His dark brown eyes aim to the room's corner. A marine feathered serpent tongues the air, his voice hissing unfulfilled prophecies of the god we just hacked with those drugs. 23 butterflies. I recall the cleanup, his limp body on the gurney, Brown kid with wavy hair, 21 years old, white foot sticking out of a blue sterile sheet, left arm over his head, left chest cracked open, lung and heart exposed, organs covered in cherry red Kool-Aid, glistening like a sliced grapefruit. I watched and waited for him to move, to inflate his lungs, bring his arm down, his body forward, scan the room, look at the mess, and with a deep voice say something like, "The fuck y'all doing?" But silence ensued instead. We peeled off ECG leads, clinked metal as we discarded tools, scrubbed and cleaned the area around so the body could be presented formally to the family. Through the doors, a group of young kids, brown kids, at teenage vocal cords in English and Spanish, crying in chorus. I went to his chest, reached inside, wrapped my hand around his heart, injected the last ounce of warmth I had. His eyes suddenly moved toward me, and the quietest whisper asked, "What happened?" 23 shots were fired. 23 bullets went your way. One to the chest is all it took. "Shit," he said. 23 bullets? I thought they were just butterflies grazing me. This is called Manos. Estas manos son mías, tal como son las de mis hermanos. Manos grandes, manos chicas, manos suaves, manos tiesas, manos de trabajador y de amante. Estas manos en un tiempo levantaron espadas, conquistaron tu ascendencia, se lavaron en la sangre de tu madre, sembraron las raíces de tu fruta, construyeron en concreto el camino del futuro. Estas manos que defendieron la laguna son las que también arrebataron y mandaron el tesoro sobre el mar a llegar a las manos de la reina, manos de pecado que forzaron un tal ídolo, manos ignorantes que pensaron en salvar. Estas manos son de tus abuelos, cuyo montaron caballos una noche fría y pelearon a la muerte por su tierra. Manos delgadas que excavaron cementerios, encontraron las mismas manos apretando cruces. Revelaron piedras montadas en pirámides gigantes, pintaron murales en su propia sangre y deletrearon poesía en la misma tinta. Estas manos pintadas de gris en tiempos de oro son manos mascaradas y santificadas. Lucharon con el demonio azul mientras sostenían el sombrero del rey. Apostaron la vida en 5 barajas con pistolas frescas listas a perder. Manos de resorte en cantinas se inflaron de risa enamorando a todos con flores y café. Delicadas manos que sedujeron al hombre, bailaron sobre el cuerpo y susurraron el llanto del cucurrucucú en su pecho caliente. Lindas manos que apagaron la luz, azotaron la puerta dejándolo borracho llorando sin fe. Manos de machista en soledad se amarraron al micrófono y cantaron con el ángel negro. Estas manos no tienen dueño único. Son la imagen del espejo de tus padres. Fueron besuqueadas por él y atrapadas por ella. Manos de voluntad, manos de valiente, manos de ama, manos de paciente. Estas manos pequeñas de bebé, cada vez que te veo siguen creciendo, cada vez apretando mi dedo con más fuerza. Cada vez recuerda que todas estas manos también son tuyas. And I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. I will say it is very weird to read when no one is answering or responding or like giving you a little here there. This is the first time I read like for a long period on Zoom, but I kept looking up. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ben and Steve. Again, like I said, this is kind of a full circle moment for me. Oh, wait, hold on. This is kind of like a full circle moment for me. And I'm really happy about it. So I'm look forward to coming down whenever we open up again. So